We're going to begin this hour with Oprah. She is here. She is revealing her newest book club selection only on CBS Mornings, and we love when that happens. Oprah, drum roll, please. What did you select?
Drum roll. It is the long-awaited Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. And it is one of the most... It is 715 pages.
Yes.
But I felt transported. I felt like I lived in a different land for a while. I felt expanded. I came away humbled that someone could have a mastery of words the way Dr. Verghese does. And I think this is an offering to the world. I know that it's a big, thick book, and you were complaining about that.
No, and this is what would happen. Well, I'm going to wait till we introduce the author. The Covenant of Water follows
the Covenant of Water
of a South Indian family suffering from a very mysterious curse. During the search for answers, family secrets are revealed that bond them together, but also threaten to tear them apart. Abraham Verghese, last New York Times bestselling Cutting for Stone, sold more than 1.5 million copies in this country alone. So we are very excited to have you here, Abraham Verghese, and we welcome you.
You know, it's a pleasure.
When I heard that the book was 700 pages, I said to Oprah, people have lives. This is not fair to do to people. People have jobs, they have children, they have work. And so when I was reading it, I would call her and I'd say, it's so long. She goes, is it good? I go, it's beyond good. She said, well, keep reading, and hung up the phone. she was not hearing it. She said, I make no apologies for the length. Yeah. So my challenge here today is not to give anything away because it's pitch perfect. Mm-hmm. It takes twists and turns that you never, ever expect.
It grabs you right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning all the way to the very last page. So what was your process? How did you come up with this story?
Well, I wish I could say that I knew the whole story from the beginning, but I had a general idea, 3 generations. I had the figure of Bigamachi, a strong woman. I think a lot of women in fiction are portrayed as evil or, malevolent, but I just wanted a good mother and have her sort of carry the story. I knew very little else. I mapped it all out, but it kept changing every time
As you were writing. So were you changing as you went along?
I was. I think there's a saying in fiction that character is determined by decisions taken under pressure. And the moment I'd put my character under pressure, they would tell me they were going a different way.
This is what I loved about the book. I thought this expressed on page 15, very beginning of the story, the grandmother is certain of a few things. A tale that leaves its imprint on a listener tells the truth about how the world lives. And so unavoidably, it is about families, their victories and wounds, and their departed, including the ghosts who linger. It must offer instructions for living in God's realm, where joy never spares one from sorrow.
That sums it up beautifully, too.
That is a sentence plus, yes.
That is sweep, that is grandeur. Dr. Verghese, you are a doctor and a writer. How do these two professions, these two callings interact?
I always resist the temptation, the definition of 2 hats, because I see myself as just all physician. And even the writing comes out of the great privilege of in physicianhood and being attentive to details and trying to gather them together in one unifying package. I realize that's a bit disingenuous now. I have a best-selling book that I've written before this, and I'm on Oprah, so I must be a writer, but
yes.
My identity is so wrapped up in the great privilege of being a physician.
You know what was touching to me is your eyes teared up. You and Oprah met for the first time today. Your eyes teared up when you were speaking to her. What was it like when she called you? I'm wondering where the emotion came from for you about her.
Well, I gave her some grief, I think, because I didn't believe this. This was 2 days before April 1st, so I didn't really believe this was Oprah. But once I knew, I stood up. That was my first reaction.
You stood up?
I stood up. I'm in awe of this lady who brought so many readers to books in general. And that's what writers want. I shared with her one of my favorite quotes, that the difference between people who don't read and who can't read is no difference. And she brought readers, this is Mark Twain's quote, not mine.
Yes.
She brought readers to books, and I just love this lady for that.
He cheered up and I cheered up. We both were crying in the call. That's never happened to me.
Ever.
Because I just feel like what it takes to have a day job, and then really you're doing this in your spare time, writing, but to have the gift of being able to use words to put people in a different place in their mind and in their spirit is an incredible gift. Yeah.
Seeing this connection and this conversation between you two is beautiful.
And this isn't going to stop here. There's some exciting news about a podcast.
Exciting news, because
Tell us all about
this
it.
is the first time I've taken a fiction book and turned it into a series of podcasts, because the story is epic. It has broad in scope. And I know that already Dr. Verghese has so many fans out there from Cutting for Stone, which I hadn't read until I read this book. Then I went and read Cutting for Stone. So many fans who want to delve in a more intimate way with the story. And so we're doing it a series of podcasts on the book. On the book.
Not only that,
So.
Dr. Verghese, Abraham, this is the first time I've ever seen Oprah pick a book from an author and then go back and read all of their other books. I've never seen you do that.
That's never
before.
happened before.
I mean, her enthusiasm when she called me for the book, she
Yes.
was just going on about it. Other than my editor and my publisher and my partner, no one has ever read the book in that and been that engaged. I was just blown away. I mean, I got to my knees when we were done with the call.
Now, Dr. Verghese, you mentioned earlier that you mapped it out, and you mean that literally. You mapped it out on a whiteboard, 3 generations of families. Kind of explain your writing process for
Wow, we have
Is
a
that your
picture of it. Look
whiteboard
at
there?
That.
That is
I tend to think visually, and so
Wow.
I really wanted to have a blueprint before I launched into this. But the trouble is, as I said, the blueprint kept changing, and so there are many, many iterations of my whiteboard. So it kept catching up with the novel. I wish I could say I knew it all, but that was my attempt.
Did you know how this was going to end when
No.
you started it?
No.
I wondered about that, because the ending, I think, is pitch perfect. Did you in the back of your mind, think that?
Towards the end. And I'll tell you something else. I had the privilege of recording the audiobook, and as I was reading it for 2.5 weeks, I was seeing connections, I swear to God, I never planned to put in there. So I think the muse, God, the subconscious mind does mysterious things, and you just have to be open to it and willing.
No, I like what you say about secrets. You say every family has secrets, but not all secrets are meant to deceive. What defines a family is not blood, but the secrets they share.
Wow.
I think that resonates with many, many, many people.
Yes.
I would like to say I've been reading since I was 3 years old, and I have over the year. You know, what's the prize in my house are my books, my first edition novels, and I have a whole room full of them. And I would say this goes on my list of top 3 books of all times.
Wow.
And that includes Miss Toni Morrison. All right.
Whoa.
So I have never felt this way about a book. I'm trying to get the rights to the book. I said to Abraham Verghese, I don't know whether to call you doctor or Abraham.
Abraham.
Okay. I said to Abraham that, you know, I believe that this should be a series, a multi-part series. I have never attempted in all of my years of selecting books to do a series. While after I chose it, but I said, I want to be the steward of this. However this comes to light on the screen, and whatever screen it is, I feel that I should be the steward for this, to make sure that this story gets what it deserves in the world.
You feel that when you start reading it.
Yes, and it's one of the top 3 books
Abraham,
I've
this
ever read.
is what was waiting for you after more than 10 years of work with that whiteboard and having the story pass through.
How does it feel
onto
hearing that, Abraham?
page.
It's just an awesome feeling. I mean, I think you write in such solitude, but you're always visualizing a listener. And I never in my wildest dreams imagined Miss Winfrey would be the listener. And
Something tells me, Oprah knows people, so this is going to happen. I think in her mind, she's already casting for the book.
Yeah.
That's the movie. Aren't you? You got some ideas?
I got some people in mind.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Oprah and Abraham, thank you. It's a pleasure.
you so much.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm very
You know
excited
what we're
about
doing?
today.
So normally I would choose another book around July. We're giving people time to read this book because listen, this is going to take you on an adventure. It's going to take you into another way of being with yourself. And so I won't be back here for a while.
So people
talking
get
about
2 months to read it.
2 months to read
I
it.
think that's very important because Oprah people got lives. They got
People got lives. They got things they need to do.
They got
the Covenant of Water.
Covenant of Water. Bravo. Thank you both. Thank you both. The Covenant of Water is on sale right now. Check out cbsmornings.com for a reader's guide and a free excerpt from the novel. Just ahead, head on over to our Instagram page to find out how you can get more involved with Oprah's book club. All right.